Before I start this video, guys, I am super excited to bring you my first ever giveaway. That's right, I'm giving shit away for free. So I'm going to be giving away a Razor Naga. And if you don't want that, you can have a copy of Legion. And if you already have both of those things and you enter the giveaway and you win, I just want you to know you're a dick. Alright? You're a real dick for stealing that shit from someone who wants it and needs it. Alright? Okay, so the way you're going to enter the giveaway is to click the link in the description and do what it says. I'm hosting it on a different website. It's designed for doing giveaways on YouTube. And this way you guys will know that it's not rigged like the election. It's real. I'm actually giving away shit for free. Also, in order to enter the giveaway, you have to give this video a thumbs up. I know it's impossible for me to tell whether or not you gave me a thumbs up, but just trust me, you have to. Okay. If you are questioning my credibility on giving a PvP Affliction Warlock guide, I'll have you know I've been 2436 this season, where the gladiator cutoff is 2400. No big deal. Also, I'm getting Hero of the Alliance. No big deal. And I'm giving all this shit, all this information for free, along with a Razor Naga for free. So if I'm not your favorite person by now, I don't get it. What else do I have to give you for free? Like, do you want a fucking blowjob or something? But jokes aside, I mean, I'm pretty high rated, but by no means am I the best Warlock ever, and by no means have I mastered this game, but I'm just going to tell you what's worked for me so far. For the most part, there's going to be a lot of situational stuff that can really only come from experience. If you want to watch me on Twitch or watch another good Warlock on Twitch, that'll help too, but you're really just going to have to learn it as you go. It's not something you can learn in just a video. Alright, now that we're done with that long ass intro, in which I'm giving away a free $60 mouse, if you didn't catch that, I can get into the video. So, basically what I'm going to do is, I'm going to separate it into 2s, 3s, and RBGs. I'll briefly talk about artifact talents at the beginning, and I'm going to go over the specs and honor talents, and then, how to play with a couple of those different specs. And it really probably shouldn't take me more than like 10 or 15 minutes. So hopefully that should be a relief to some of you, because I don't know who the fuck wants to watch an hour-long video about how to play spec in World of Warcraft, because I fucking don't. So for the artifact, in general, you're gonna go this one, then you want that one. Obviously it's the only one you could take, and it's pretty good. So then you're going to want to go inherently unstable. You can go right for the agony damage, and after that you're probably going to want the health stone, and then you're probably going to want the drain life damage, because fatal echoes is really good. Basically 6% extra UA damage, 12% with your artifact up, average it to 9%. You don't have to cast it, so let's say it's like extra 10% damage from UA on average. Let's just say that. Perdition next, probably going to want to go for the hideous corruption. Could go for shadowy incantations, or Harvester of Souls. I think Harvester of Souls is best for RBGs, shadowy incantations for everything else, and I mean compounding horror for like PvE, I guess, but I mean still does a little extra damage for you. So in general, that's the shit you're gonna go. Alright. Let's talk 2v2 talents. Okay, so these are gonna be your talents for 2s. Contagion, because you're going to be running Rot and Decay. So yeah, run that, or that. I always run that, and that, and that. And then for honor talents, you're going to want that, whatever, that. Actually, Essence Drain is pretty damn good if you're going to be attacking the DPS. It's dispellable. In other words, a pretty close second if they have like magical interrupts, because they can't interrupt you with Netherward up. Oh, side note, if you're facing a mage, you might want to run Siphon Life, because they'll steal your shit and kill you. Also, if you're facing a melee DPS, it's definitely a viable option to run with Grimoire of Supremacy for the slow with the Doom Guard. Plus, it does a considerable amount of damage. So yeah, run all this shit and this shit if you're gonna do 2s. For 2s playstyle, and every playstyle, it's really situational. It depends if they're dispelling a lot, depends if they're not dispelling. If they are dispelling, if they're actually good, then you want to keep at least 1 UA up while drain lifing. Putting 2 UAs up and letting them dispel is going to be less damage than 1 UA plus drain life. Drain Life is actually your biggest dot. It does more damage than Unstable Affliction. So if you're at a high rating and they're spamming Dispel, you just want to keep at least 1 UA up. However, with your artifact trait, Fatal Echoes, if you have, say, 5 Unstable Afflictions on the target and then the healer dispels it, there's a chance that 2 or 3 of those are going to stay on the target, and if that's the case, you want to cast 2 more Unstable Afflictions and instantly have 5 Unstable Afflictions right after his dispels off cooldown. Maybe land a CC chain on the healer. Again, this is really situational stuff. I can't really get too much into it, but you see where I'm going with this. If you're having trouble getting a lot of UAs up, you always want to keep at least 1 up while you Drain Life. Not only is Drain Life your biggest damage, but if you're running Contagion and all your spells are doing 12% extra damage with UA, that's going to be huge. So you want to keep at least 1 UA, maybe 2, and then your other dots, and then Drain Life with Rotten Decay. Affliction is actually really single target based in 2s. Unless they don't know how to dispel, like you can do a lot of pressure on both people. If they are dispelling a lot, that's not to say you shouldn't spam UA when possible. The dispel still can be very deadly, and it has a higher chance to keep more of them on the target after they've been dispelled. Again, situational things. Here you can see spamming UA with my cooldowns up. Clearly works against this druid. He takes a massive dispel. No one expected he would die. I didn't think he would die. He didn't think he would die. And he's just instantly dead from 50% by dispelling 5 UAs with Dark Soul up. So again, very situational. There's a lot of different shit you could do. For 3's talents, there's actually 3 different specs I want to talk about. First, I'm going to tell you which talents are never going to change, and that's going to be Writhe and Agony 100% of the time. Howl of Terror and Demonic Circle depend on the comp you're facing, so that's not really going to change. Howl of Terror is better versus Rot comps, Demonic Circle versus Burst comps, and it's really good on Blade's Edge. Dark Pact, never going to change. Service, never going to change. Nether Ward, pretty much never going to change. Curse of Weakness or Tongues, that's going to depend on what you're facing. Adaptation versus Gladiator's Medallion, pretty much always Adaptation. Use Medallion if they're not going to be using any 5-second CCs on you, obviously. Mind Quickness, that's also never going to change. Okay, so spec number 1, the most viable spec. That's going to be Absolute Corruption, Siphon Life, Phantom Singularity, Amplify Afflictions, and yeah, that's it. So the idea behind this spec is really pretty basic. You just put all 3 of your dots on everybody, spam UAs after that. If you have 5 shards, UA before that. Obviously, wait for your artifact to Phantom Singularity. It's really pretty simple. The idea is pretty simple. Executing the idea, not as simple. You don't always want to just try to have 3 dots on everybody. Yes, that's really good, but if you're doing burst, if your partner's bursting, you want to try to line up damage with him, line up CCs. That's always going to have priority over who you're dotting. But in general, you want to just open with Agony on everybody, then Corruption everybody, maybe put a couple Unstable Afflictions out, then Siphon Life. Siphon Life is your lowest damage dot, so it's pretty much your lowest priority. If you're dying, obviously Siphon Life because it heals you. Phantom Singularity after everybody's all dotted. It's a really good AoE, lots of rot. It's really not that much to explain about this spec, to be honest. Really, it's just a matter of knowing the game and how it works. The spec itself is really not that complicated. Having the add-on Fly Plate buffs, the one that shows the dots above their heads, is really, really helpful for any Affliction spec, especially this one where you're tracking 3 dots plus Unstable Affliction. It's just a really good thing to have for any class, really. Spec number 2 is going to be Absolute Corruption, Soul Harvest, and Soul Conduit, everything else being exactly the same. This is a lot easier to play. I've played this to 2400 plus. I've even played it against mages. It's got really good burst damage. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this is actually like the most brain dead spec I've ever played in my life. You put up your 2 dots on everyone, takes half a global per dot, then you just spam Unstable Affliction on everyone. Dark Soul when you got Agonies at 20 stacks, and a bunch of Unstable Afflictions, and your artifact has a bunch of stacks. It's super duper simple, and you're opened up to fear a ton. It's really easy, really fun. Also really counterable. If they just ride you, you won't do very much damage. If they dispel your Dark Soul, you pretty much won't do any damage. So It's a little risky, but it works at a pretty high rating. So if you're new, I recommend this actually. The final spec I want to talk about is kind of an unconventional spec, but I've ran it to 2200 plus. It's pretty much exactly the same as the 2 spec I was talking about. You take Contagion, Soul Harvest, Soul Conduit, and Rot and Decay. This is good if the healers aren't really dispelling on cooldown, or if you're not getting trained or kicked like every single cast. It's not as bad as you might think it is. It's actually pretty fun. You can stack UAs on 2 different targets and keep them up, and if they're not dispelling, that's just going to be game. You pretty much automatically win. So it's kind of rolling the dice on whether or not the enemy healer is going to dispel a lot. So I wouldn't like recommend it, but it's fun. I like to play it at low MMR. And yes, I'm aware this is a 2s match, but it's pretty much the exact same playstyle. And I really don't feel like finding a group just to play a Rotten Decay 3s game on my alt right now. Sorry guys. So for RBGs, you can pretty much just grab this here RBG cookie cutter. Cut yourself some RBG cookies and you're set to go for those. You can run Demonic Circle on Temple, I guess, but you don't have to. And you can run a different curse, I guess, for your PvP talents. But you know, this cookie cutter will still make some pretty damn good cookies, I promise. So you know, just use the cookie cutter and you'll be set for RBGs. For opener teamfight in RBGs, what you're gonna wanna do is spam Agony and then Corruption on somebody, and then do that to 9 more people. Pop your Dark Soul, press Phantom Singularity, spam Unstable Affliction. Make sure all of your Agonies stay stacked. You never want to lose stacks of Agony. That's number 1 priority. Number 2 priority is keep Corruption up. Number 3 priority is spam UAs. You can spam a couple UAs if you don't have dots on everybody. You don't really want to be sitting 5 soul shards, but it's pretty fucking simple. So for this game that I'm showing on the screen right now, I'm actually playing with the 8th best rated player in the US right now, the number 1 Warlock. He's 2850 CR as of this game. And what I did in my opener was spam Agony on everybody, then pop Dark Soul, then spam Corruption on everybody and spam UAs. I asked him what he did differently. He said he spams Agony, then Corruption, Agony, then Corruption, Agony, then Corruption. So obviously that works better. If you look at his damage, he goes up to 330k DPS at one point. It's pretty insane. Obviously you guys aren't going to have to do 330k DPS to get into a good group. I pretty much do 250k to 300k in the opener, 200k overall, and I'm still one of the top Warlocks in RBGs right now. But it's really just a matter of keeping up your Agonies on everybody, making sure you're not sitting 5 soul shards. I'm pretty sure he was using Unstable Affliction a little bit more than me. And make sure Corruption's up on as many targets as possible. The idea is really not complicated. Doing it versus 10 people can be a little bit tricky. Again, the idea is very simple. Executing it is not as simple. I highly recommend the add-on Fly Plate buffs. Really, either you're good at it or you're not, because it's really a simple concept. If you have at least 860 item level, you should have no problem whatsoever pulling over 200k DPS. If you're under 200k DPS for the opener with your cooldowns, you're fucking up. So that's pretty much everything. If you're interested in my add-ons, go to my add-ons video. And if you're interested in my macros, go to my macros video. The end.